Welcome to r/DnD Stories, where OP is offered the greatest shovel ever made. Our next story is from Ritbro, and he wanted to make sure I shouted out his DM, Bretus Glassflesh. So, if you happen to catch this, Bretus, make sure you guys are sharing more stuff here. I'd like to read more. The finest shovel. Did not know this subreddit existed until just now, so I decided to repost an old story of my own I shared a few years ago on r/DnD. So a little backstory, our character started inside a prison deep within the Underdark. Prisoners, obviously. Nothing to our names, we easily break out, grab our stowed belongings, all but myself, who grabbed only his weapons and armor, so I was practically naked. Fast forward a few sessions, and we finally get some downtime, reaching a city of Duergar. Wandering off on my own, my character being named Roki Stonebeard, I went to find a pair of manacles, a rope, and a shovel, and just a few things I felt I was missing from my belongings. After 4 hours of wandering, I rolled an investigation of 4. You finally have a store that sells general goods. Jorgen's Home Depot. You see a dwarf of sorts hammering away at a forge as he works on flattening a piece of metal. All right, I walk up to the dwarf and say, "Good evening, sir. I wonder if you might be able to help me procure some goods I am in need of." The DM, as the pale dwarf with his singed beard, looks up to you. "Very good, sir. What can I get you? We have pretty much anything here, so what you need I can probably provide. The name is Jorgen." I shake the pale dwarf's hand and give him a list of what I need. I need 5 sets of manacles. Our DM decided madness was a thing. 50 feet of rope, and for some reason I decided to say, "and your finest shovel." "My finest shovel, you say?" The dwarf eyes you over and then hurries off. You see him move a brick along a fair wall, as the bricks give way, forming a large door. He then vanishes within the cavern. You hear a loud clang as gears start to move. After 15 minutes of various doors and locks being opened, the dwarf returns. Out of breath, yet smiling, holding something covered in fine silk. He unwraps it, revealing a shovel laden in jewels, made from dwarven mithril. The handle is the curved horn of a small dragon, and the underside of the shovel's head it carries a small drake's skull. This is my finest shovel. It's beautiful." My character reaches out to touch the shovel. Jorgen slaps your hand away. "No, you are not worthy, but you could be for a price. A mere 5,000 gold. My character, biting his knuckle in desire, looks to the shovel. 5,000 gold, you say? His wallet contains maybe 156 gold pieces. No, I am not worthy. I am sorry, fair dwarf. This lowly customer has wasted your time." Roki looks away, prying his eyes from the shovel of his dreams, sighing deeply, sadly. At this point, the entire table is entranced, if not laughing their heads off at this ham-fisted acting, if not the events. Jorgen nods, understandably, and hurries off once more, sealing away the shovel in his presumably incredibly elaborate safe. He returns again in 15 minutes. "Now, fair sir, is there anything else I can do for you?" "Bring me your second finest shovel." The table then thus died. Easily one of my best moments in D&D. Long story short, I did end up getting a shovel, trading it for a mystery box made of adamantine. The shovel itself was glorious. The DM allowed me to use it with great axe stats, no improvised weapons feat required. It was also a +3 weapon that could dig through rock like butter. Literally. The DM was also very lenient with the dig speed, basically having the same as my walking speed, provided I rolled a good enough athletics check. which led to a fair few times of my dwarf just digging his way out of dangerous situations. One such situation saw the party fighting a huge, massive blob of ooze in a deep gnome city. Charging headfirst as I tend to do, I get swallowed up. A few rounds go by with my character basically drowning and getting dissolved. I quote here, "My character looks around at the situation. Seeing the dissolving gnomish folk, he grips his shovel and nods, and digs straight down. A few turns later, and I dig my way into an underground aquifer of a cave, where myself and the ooze fall for several turns before we hit the water. It dissolves into the water after my party, concerned for my well-being, jump in after me, straight into the domain of an ancient aboleth. A few more sessions later, and we find out what Froki did actually saved the city. Sadly, the campaign was put into limbo after that. But by the gods, was it ever an adventure, and I miss me shovel." Alright, OP. Honestly, if you have more stories from this campaign, I really do want to hear it. I say that, I know I say that a lot about some of these stories, but, I always mean it. I love these. I really do. And I would honestly like to hear a lot more about your character here, if your DM is also willing to share some input too, about maybe what's going on behind the scenes there. That'd be pretty awesome. Here we have a contribution from OblivionRecurs. "You asked for detailed, so here you go. This is the story of how my character became transgender. Sorry for the delayed answer. Final episode of Critical Role Season 2 tonight. Having an emotional moment. I'd first like to give a shout out to the players who've been in the campaign, and especially the DM. They've made for such a great introduction to the wonderful world of D&D. Honestly, I've been spoiled by them if Crit Crab stories are anything to go by. Thanks to the accursed plague, I got invited to play my first ever D&D campaign online. We started June 29th to be exact, with the module Tyranny of Dragons after taking an extensive survey. The beginning of Horde of the Dragon Queen goes by the books. I established myself as the archetype devious, flirty, horny bard. But even that has developed and changed. However, I struggled to really give a good reason for why my character would suddenly become involved with cultist pirates. The background was basically blank. That was until the DM mentioned the city of Scornubel in an offhand comment, and in a flash of inspiration I had my character panic saying that we should avoid that place at all costs. The cleric asked why, and I explained that I might have burned down most of the entire town, killing thousands. In my shame, I fled the town and joined up with the only people who take a horny bard with a theoretical degree in practiced medicine, cultist pirates. I basically became Chopper from One Piece, but a horny bard. So, Chopper Sanji, basically. My claim to save face of the cleric was that this was some sort of divine celestial command against evil after drinking mean ale. It was a fiend. Also, mean ale is wild magic alcohol, which, oh boy, that been bringing lots of entertainment to the campaign. Seeing my sister being forced by necromancers controlling the underground of the city to resurrect my dead brother served as the trigger that compelled me to begin burning down the town indiscriminately in a fit of rage. The fire got out of hand and quickly, roughly 1/3 of the town's population perished. Funny enough, the necromancer cult got into power because of this incident, and no one has heard from the rest of my family since. Normally we'd avoid a city, however, human fighter in a much-deserved vendetta against me, I inadvertently killed his son earlier in the campaign, decided to report my character to the city. They promptly arrested me. What followed still remains as one of my favorite sessions ever. A full-fledged trial. The other players were asked to give reasons for why or why not the city should put me to death for my crimes based on my previous actions throughout the campaign. The ending result was a 2-2 mistrial split, but before I could breathe a sigh of relief, the DM ruled that consequences for actions cannot be avoided. The leader of the town sentenced me to be cursed with a specific curse from each school of magic. For the importance of the story, the two to know about are necromancy, which states I'll be brought back into a modified revenant upon death, and evocation school, which made me deathly afraid of fire, in a campaign about dragons. Now the campaign continues into Rise of Tiamat, ongoing. 2 of the players leave, including the human fighter, and are replaced by 2 more players. One of them plays a warlock drow. Of course, my character has a crush on her, and of course her patron Glassflesh is opposed to my fiend patron Metastophiles. To make matters worse, the rogue has a book that could summon my archdevil into the material plane, which both need to control. The rogue also once stole a Wand of Wonder from an archmage before selling it for 500 GP, so that is something else we'll have to deal with. Now, while exploring this tower, we come across a pit fiend which is trapped in a room by a long-dead, powerful wizard's spell. The pit fiend represents Glassflesh and convinces the drow to release him in exchange for his favor. For his thank you gift, he decides to remove the filth of Metastophiles, setting my already bloodied character from a previous fight with elementals on fire. That evocation curse activates, which sealed my fate. My character was beheaded and the body reduced to ash. The pit fiend announced his intentions to kill the goody-goody paladin and cleric in the group. The cleric nopes the party out with word of recall, satisfied that we had found the blue dragon mask. We will give the dragon mask to the Dragon Council, who are kind of mad at us because we ended up having an ancient bronze dragon killed. Now my character searches desperately for a body to possess as a revenant, before deciding on the body the warlock had collected for her spell, Create Undead. This was a young variant human bard cultist woman that had been dead for some time. The remainder of tonight's campaign was the warlock and the rogue going throughout the city of Waterdeep to get my character a makeover, as well as train me in how to not embarrass myself as a woman. We've already changed my name to a more feminine version of my old name. I'm looking forward to role-playing as a new identity that I normally wouldn't get to experience. Fun fact, this isn't the first trans character in the campaign. My character now wants absolute revenge on Tomato, party nickname for Tiamat, and the pit fiend who murdered me. She no longer has a crush on the drow, but does view them as a possible ally. Metastophiles reconnected with her and she regains access to her warlock spells, but modified to be mostly necromancy spells besides obligatory Eldritch Blast. However, unless she brings him the Wand of Orcus and the Book of Devil Summoning, he'll torture my character whenever I die, and when I die permanently in a year, it'll be forever. The Wand of Orcus location is known by the cleric after using the Deck of Many Things. Another story on that one. Also, my griffin named Giorno survived the ordeal, and yes, that is a JoJo reference. That was r/DnD Stories. Now I'm letting you know your patron wants you to like and subscribe.